I think the role of AI in digital advertising in particular is pretty interesting insofar as there's four pretty broad problem types that I think are good candidates for usage of AI. First being about recommendations and workflow automation. So, some examples of this would be like, well, first of all, it's about making customers more effective at their jobs. But some examples of this would be like audience segment creation, recommendations for deal creations, some operational recommendations, etc. Second category would be about pipe cleanliness. So this is really important in the programmatic space. That's obviously very much a real-time business. So the problem set here is about detecting anomalies and mitigating those anomalies to keep up a high runtime scalable environment. Thirdly, of increasing importance is infrastructure utilization. So all of us, this business runs on a lot of machines. So this problem set is about doing more with those increasingly expensive machines. And then lastly, bidding. So, the crux of programmatic is a bidding infrastructure. And so taking different bidding strategies to benefit our buy side and sell side customers is ultimately meant to drive more liquidity across the platforms.
So Andrew, this is this aspirational? Is this what your hope for the future is, or is this what you guys are doing now? And maybe you could sort of tell us which part of it PubMatic is doing, and a little bit how you're doing it, and where the progress is at the company.
Yeah, absolutely. None of these are aspirational. I think all of these are, actually, I know all of these are in play today. And the types of value that we're be able to create in each of these categories are really threefold. So each of these will drive some sort of revenue lift, yield from the perspective of publisher, improved more media spend from the perspective of buyers. Second would be about cost savings. This can happen both in terms of infrastructure savings as well as operational expenses. And then thirdly, there's strategic benefits like customer satisfaction and user experience. So to bring this back to PubMatic, we have live algorithms in all of these spaces. Some of the more interesting ones or more recent developments are happening more in the bidding and infrastructure utilization space. So I can key in on two in particular and talk a bit about the value created there. So in the infrastructure utilization space, one of the big areas that we work on is traffic shaping. So how do we select the most important ad requests, the most important bid requests, to send those out to our buyers and maintain healthy levels of spend? So, what this does is not only protect our own infrastructure, but the infrastructure of our buyers. And some of the, machine learning and artificial intelligence that goes into this is about what are buyer preferences? What have we observed them buying in the past? And thus, is that a good indicator of what they're willing to buy in the future? So, the goals here are, create a much cheaper auction environment while still maintaining all the good transactions. And secondarily, that should improve inventory quality. So with the intent to buy good quality inventory means we can remove a lot of the bad quality from the ecosystem. So additionally, talked a bit about the bidding space. And so in the bidding space, one of the new developments we have there is what we call Roi Sync. And so what this is about marrying both performance indicators for advertisers. So, how likely is a user to interact with the given ad, and marrying that with auction competitiveness in order to basically create a next generation bid shading. So kind of the premise here is that, most bid shading today is very rudimentary. It's mainly just about reducing eCPM. And I firmly believe that that's kind of missing the forest amongst the trees. So for example, it'd be very easy to reduce a buyer's eCPM just by cutting out all their high value bids that's not what we want to do, because there's a lot of value sitting behind those high value bids, whether it be for high quality inventory or urgent advertisers that need to serve an ad. So what ROI Sync does is essentially take performance indicators specific to given buyers and helps us optimize for a better outcome, ultimately driving higher return on ad spend. So think of this as, like I said, smarter bid shading that ultimately drives longer term yield gains for publishers. And clearly helps create more effective media spend for the buyers.
So, Andrew, how do you see the adoption, enthusiasm, engagement of your publishing clients, and how will this how do you see it developing, either in the States or globally, or however it rolls out? But what's next, and how pervasive will this be? And how do you see the industry adoption, particularly in the PubMatic world of the sell side?
Yeah, so when I look at the ad tech ecosystem, I think there's like two predominant trends currently playing out, but with a lot of runway. And so I think the first one is header bidding. That has increased the importance on this infrastructure utilization category of problems. So we've seen exponential growth in terms of the number of pings between our partners in the ecosystem, and it's caused it's created a big need to help bring these under control, these costs under control specifically. And second to that is SPO, or supply path optimization. And what that has done is created a need to have finer tuned bidding algorithms for specific buyers. So like I mentioned, you can imagine many different buyers having many different types of objectives. And so how do you marry those with auction competitiveness to create better outcomes? So that's kind of I'd say, like current, or ones that are pretty well defined. And some of the less defined trends that are just now starting would be in the identity space and in CTV. So in identity, it's all about creating legitimate alternatives to third-party cookies and IDFAs, then scaling those up, so getting similar coverage to what the third-party cookie enabled in the past. And then, building segments on top of those and ultimately driving the transactions or liquidity. So lots of interesting problems ahead there. And same with CTV, where ad podding and error detection are going to become very, very important. And then lastly, just to note, from the technical standpoint, just within the artificial intelligence space, things like neural networks and computer vision are creating interesting opportunities to improve things like inventory quality and some of the unique CTV use cases as well.